What's up, party people? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. And you know, we come on here to discuss real life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Now, one of the things I love to do is go around this freaking planet trying to find the best people on it. Today, I found Kevin. So, Kevin Kepple is a transformational and business coach and leadership educator. So, he's helping stressful but stressed. Let's talk about this for a second. He's helping successful but stressed out business owners. All of y'all. Are y'all listening? Everybody listening is this person, right? You are a successful but stressed out business owner, executives to create more impact by aligning with their heart. I love that, Kevin, so that they can truly maximize their genius and find more access to happiness and aliveness. And you know what, Kevin, I was joking, but it's true. A lot of my listeners are entrepreneurs, business owners, mainly, like, I think my audience is like 50 to 60% female, like 60% female, but I have a lot of people that listen to the show that are business owners or starting their businesses. So I'm glad you're here because I know you're gonna drop some wisdom. So how are you, Kevin? Welcome.
And I'm super. Thanks so much for having me, Neena.
You have a good voice. It's good that you have a podcast because you got a good voice.
Yeah, thanks.
How
Yeah,
are you?
man, I'm terrific. I had a good friend once. I used to do a little bit of acting, and I was on a radio show, and he's my best friend. We grew up together, and he goes, "Dude, you have the perfect face for radio." He's like, "Get on there all the time." I'm like, "Thanks, man."
That's messed up. What kind of friend is
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's
It's
a good
funny.
one.
Yeah. So Kevin, before I get started, I know you said you've listened to my show a little bit. I like to find out who Kevin is. So I'm going to ask you, who are you? And I know that's a loaded question, but share whatever it is you'd like to share.
Sure. Yeah. So many things, it's like I have many identities, but don't let any of them define me, probably like you and so many of the listeners. But I'm a dude. I'm a dog dad, a husband, a pretty good friend. And, I'm a business owner and really a leader. And,
That's awesome.
I like to really do whatever I can to grow as much as possible so I can give it all away. Because I think that's the whole point, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we all have specific gifts and talents, and we get to continually evolve those and see how we can serve at higher levels. And that's been the goal for a really long time. And for the longest time, I was doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing instead of what I wanted to do. And like I was
Mm.
making money and I was winning, right? I was in sales and I was getting the trips and the money, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm just not supposed to be that happy. Most of the people I work with don't seem that happy. And I was really, it was all about the ego too, just like trying to
Mm-hmm.
compete with other people and compare myself, and always coming up short or superior, inferior. That's the result when you compare yourself, and
Right.
there's all those judgments. And I was really unhappy, and I thought, like, maybe I'm just I can be happy sometimes, like when I'm on vacation, right? But that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, I don't that's not the life I wanted to live. And so I was stressed and successful, like kind of you mentioned, but I wanted more. And fortunately, I got around some people who helped me see what being more looked like. And it's not about doing more. It's about finding more of the things that make me strong and less of the things that make me weak. And figuring out a way I can mix generosity into whatever passion I have. And
Mm.
fortunately, I'm getting to do that. And it's really awesome. I get to serve people that inspire me and are doing good things for other people. And it's a really cool world we live in. It's not perfect,
Yeah.
but it's pretty phenomenal.
It is. It is pretty phenomenal. What was that point for you though? Like, what made you like kind of wake up to what you were doing and saying, I need something different. I need, like, this isn't working for me. Or what was that moment for you? Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, yeah. I was working with a pretty good, great business coach, and this guy, shout out to Robert. Robert was in the Secret Service for about 27 years, I think. And, those guys stand still and don't move for hours. That's what they get paid to do,
Mhm,
right? And then, on
mhm.
demand, save the president or whatever. And, he'd been on like 3 presidential details. So super successful guy. And he was very good at being stoic and just looking at me and looking right through the BS. And, I hired him because I was having success, like I said, and I was winning, I was making money, but I was like, man, maybe if I make more money, then I'll be happy. Because I was really unhappy. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
I'll just make more. And like, that is obviously not the solution, but I was just buried. I was like, kind of a victim of my own success, and the success became the
Mm,
villain, and then I was the victim. And it was a self-perpetuating victimization. And, there's real victims out there. And I was not a victim, like, there's so many people out there who could really, use that title, but anyway, there's another conversation. But he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, man, tell me what you like about your job." I was like, "Well, you know what? I love this. I love that." And I was like, saying all these things, and like I thought I believed him. He's like, "All right, all right, all right, you done?" I was like, "I think so." And then he looked at me and he goes, "Dude, I don't even think you like your job." I'm like, "What are you talking about, Robert?" And he's like, "Man, when you're talking to me, like you're not even looking at me. Your body language changed, your tone changed. You're like sunk down in your chair. You look like your bones left your body." He's like, "What's wrong with your job? Where's the joy at?" And I'm like, "Well, this could be better and that could be better." Really got clear. I was, because yeah, success in sales, like
Mm.
most roles, you get promoted, right? I was the director of sales, so I was training and coaching a lot of the new people, and I was doing a lot of speaking, and I really liked those things. And so he's like, "Dude, you should be a coach. Like, you'd be phenomenal at that." And it sounds like that's where all your joy is. And so that was pretty much
Wow.
the big pivot paradigm shift, if you will.
Yeah. So did you get right into coaching right after that? Did you kind of do both? Are you still, because you said you're also a leader. So are you leader just in your business, or do you actually work for companies as well, or things like that?
No, I own my own coaching company, so I got the best boss in the world, right? He lets me do whatever I want. But I have a team and a couple of people that support me on the
That's
team that
awesome.
I lead.
Great.
But
Great.
when I say leader, it's more like I'm talking about the behavior. I don't think
Yeah. Yeah.
that like it's dangerous to define yourself like say you're a leader. Like that's cool, man. But it's kind of like saying you're funny, right? If nobody's laughing at your jokes, you're not that funny, right? And if nobody's following you, maybe you're not a leader,
Right,
So
that's funny. Yeah, that's true. And you're funny. That was funny. So okay, so now you're doing this, and do you feel like you found what you're looking for? Like, do you feel like coaching is your thing? Like when you tried it, where you're like, okay, this is gonna be my thing. Are you happy what you're doing? Is I guess my question.
yeah, absolutely. So to answer your question, a second ago, when I left that sales job I was in, I was working in financial services, and when I left that, I got a job with a big global company, a multi-billion-dollar company as a like national sales coach and leadership trainer. And so I just got to
Hmm.
train and coach people all day for about 3 years, and
Did you like that?
I loved it. I got to pick who I
Oh,
worked with,
good.
and so I worked with all kinds of people who were just getting started, and people who were highly successful and had been for decades. And I got to learn a lot, and I got really, really good at it. And it's so phenomenal to see how fast people can move when, it's like I'd finally given myself permission to be me. And,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't know if the heavens aligned and all these good things started happening. It's, it's definitely been a process and it's definitely been work, but I absolutely love getting to serve people in this way because there's so many transformations that I've gotten to be a part of that like
Yeah.
people have, made these decisions about who they are and, gotten to 30, 40, 50 years old or whatever. And, we start doing work together and just totally transforming, their life to something they actually enjoy living and they can't wait to see what's next. And, I got to meet, one of the wives of one of the clients that I had this weekend and I haven't met her before. And I've been working with her husband for about 2 years now, and there was a big event for one of the companies that I coach a bunch of leaders at. They had a big party and they asked me if I'd come, and so I wanted to go and see a bunch of people I get to, work with, but never see like in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Oh my God, thank you! Like whatever you're doing with him, please like keep doing it." And like she was so grateful. She's like, "He's like
Oh, it's so
the man I
good.
always wanted him to be," and he did all the work. Like I just happened to be there, right, and like help him
Right, right,
see
right.
what better looked like. But he really shows up and eager and humble and it's really phenomenal, man, because that's the whole point. Like, like we all have these such spectacular versions of genius inside of us, but we get stuck, modeling the behavior of other people who are maybe unhappy
Mm.
or whatever, trying to win other people's way. And, like for the longest time, I tried to win my brother's way. My brother's awesome. I love my brother. He's 2 years older than me. He's my hero, like great guy. But we're totally different people, totally built different. We love different things. Like he loves to fish. I think I just nodded it off when I said the word fishing, like it's just
Right.
not for it's just not for me, right? But that's okay. Like we're different people.
Right. Right. But I love that. I did want to talk to you about that too, because I know that one of the things that when I read your bio was about how you help people align, with their greatness or align with who they really want to be. So, or with their heart, I believe is the way it was put. So what I want to ask you is what does that mean to you? Like what does that alignment mean, right? Because I mean, you're out here too, Kevin, right? So you're seeing all of the posts and all the stuff on social media and all of that stuff, right? So I think we all have sometimes a different angle of where we come at this. So I'm just wondering, what does that mean when you say you're going to help people align with their hearts?
Sure. And obviously that's a little bit obscure and a little leery when I put that down, but at the same time, it's exactly what we do. So it's the best way I
Right.
found to say it. But
Right.
well, really, there's kind of like four zones. We take people through the four zones of genius, if you will, and it starts with my mindset, right? Which like
Mhm.
my mind's
Mhm.
telling me stories that just aren't truth, and that's going to totally sabotage me. But when you learn to really question, the thoughts that you have, that's such a powerful thing to do because you really understand, hey, I don't have to believe every thought I have. And that's how you go
Right.
beyond the story that the mind's
I love
created.
that.
And
Yeah.
when you do that, this is, really leading you to the heart set. This is like because if I have a thought, like I feel it, right, emotionally, my body, thinks with my mind thinks with my body. That's what kinesiology tells us that. So if I'm having all these thoughts that don't serve me, my like body is feeling all these things that aren't true. And that's what happens. People get addicted to negative thinking because we get a
Mhm.
chemical
Mhm.
reaction for every negative thought we have. And then you get in this like, cascade of chemicals that you don't want and you feel this way and that's your state of being, like whatever it is. If it's anxiety, then you're being anxious and you're going to attract more anxious circumstances, people, etc. So really when we get the mindset kind of cleared out, it leads us to the heart, right? When we understand like that we live in a world of our feeling. Again, I was talking about fishing, right? Like my brother and I go fishing, he's having the best time of his life, he feels great. I feel
Right.
bored, I feel irritable, I feel depressed maybe, but we're in the same experience, right? Because we live in a world of
Right.
our feeling. And so really helping people understand how to connect to that true essence of them.
Mm,
And
mm.
all of these kind of work together. And the next one's really clarity, because when we're really connected like that, it allows us to get really clear on like the two questions like that we have to answer. Like, and for so long, like I didn't even ask myself these questions. And I know a lot of people don't. And like, does it make you a bad person? Don't feel bad, just do better. Right. And
Right.
it's like what and why? So simple. Like, and they get overlooked because of their simplicity, right? Like, no, it's something
Right.
more complex. I need to solve pi. That's what I need to do before I can
Right.
figure out my life's purpose. I'm like, well,
Right.
okay, but what do you want, right? And if you're going to the gym, you're building a business, whatever, you need to ask that
Yep.
question because you don't know
Yep.
what you want. How would you know if you got it? If you don't know what you want, how do you know what action to take to go get it? But what are you passionate about creating? That's a great place to start because passion is really good, man. And passion can be fairly selfish sometimes. So that's why is so important. Okay, this thing I'm
Yeah.
passionate about creating, this what, like how can I mix generosity into that, right? And
Mhm.
when I'm
Mhm.
connected to my heart, it's very much easier for me to answer those questions, right? So what do you want? Why do you want it? But so many people try to end in the third question, which I didn't say three, right? I said two. But the third question is how? Well, how am I going to do this? How? And like, well,
Right.
don't worry
Right.
about the how. When the why is big enough, the how will emerge. Viktor Frankl said that in Man's Search for Meaning, which is a phenomenal book. But when the why is big enough, the how will emerge. And so then
Yeah.
when you have that clarity and you're really connected to your heart, it allows you to maximize, your creativity and bring your unique expression of genius into the world. And that gets you out of the comparison game because if you're comparing, you're competing and you're striving for this like sameness, right? But
Right.
creativity strives for this beautiful uniqueness. And sometimes creativity can rhyme, right? It can look similar to other things, but creativity is a little risky, right? Because
Yeah.
we're going to the unknown. We're going to create. And if I'm stuck in my story of my mindset of lack or whatever, then I'm not going to create, right? Because it's risky. But it's beautiful when you're connected to the truth, right? To your heart, and you have clarity on what you want, and you're using, your explosive creativity. That's when you find those peak states really on demand, right? And that's kind of the fourth thing. So it's connection, connection to the heart,
Mhm.
clarity, and then creativity, and then flow, right? Flow is so beautiful because in
Mhm.
flow, we get
Mhm.
like, you can have flow. You and I can have flow together. When we're talking right now, we can find flow.
Mhm.
I can do it by
Mhm.
myself. I can do it with groups. But, and the book Flow by Csikszentmihalyi, he, said, like, did all these studies, right? All this data. The happiest people in the world, again and again, he found were the people who find the most flow in their lives because we're like biologically designed to be in flow because that's how we operate at extremely high levels. That's how we've evolved as humans. And when you're in flow, you're getting like 500% increases in productivity. That's the internet stat, right? I read it on the internet, so it has to be true. It's the rules.
Right.
But like the performance is really heightened, learning's heightened, but you just feel phenomenal and amazing. And it's not just in the moment; it lasts for days or weeks sometimes. And
Right.
so
Right.
that's really the alignment kind of process, if you will. There.
No, that's great because you know what? A lot of times when we're professionals, right? We were rising up, we're going up this corporate ladder, and we're in six figures and all that great stuff, and we do not stop. We do not stop to ask those questions, Kevin. We don't. We have zero freaking clarity. We just know how to do processes, right? So it's a bunch of processes, and we do it well, and we get the money, but we never ask for the clarity on that. I mean, I started coaching too because I realized the impact I was having on people's lives was a beautiful thing. And then I said, I really I really want to do this because this is what drives me, right? So I totally get where you're going that with your clients. And what I love is you just said a little bit ago, you working with your client for like 2 years now, right? So now this becomes something where he's developing and growing and all of that he's doing for 2 years, but it also pushes you as a coach too, right? Because in 2 years, you're really feeding into this person's life, right? This is not like a 2-week program. Like you're really filling their lives. Is this something that, like, when you structure your coaching that you're going to be doing with people, do you do it based on like what their um business or process is, or do you do it more like this is our program and this is, you stay within this
Sure.
framework?
Yeah, one size fits all, right? Like,
Right.
no, it's kind of based on, whatever the client needs and who they are and where they are in their life. And the reason I've worked with him for so long is he's part of a company that, I work with the CEO all the way through the management team. And
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of coaches that work for me and they work with some of the leads that they have. And so I think we're coaching about 20 people inside the company. And we've been working with them for about 3 years. And so they're
That's
just,
great.
yeah, their mission is to grow leaders. And so, that's what we
That's
do with
great.
them. And so it's really phenomenal that the company, pays for this coaching for them.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
like what a cool company to get to be a part of. And, then I have like a mastermind group that I offer that's, kind of invite only, and then a couple other types of groups. So
That's great.
yeah, it just depends on, what they need, because it's not about me, as you know, right?
Right. But I hope that a lot of CEOs of big companies are listening. I know that I have a few. And the reason I say that is because I believe in exactly what you're saying, Kevin. Like, I really feel like more companies should be investing in coaches especially for their leadership team. Because if you can get the leaders on board with clearing out their mindset and clearing out the way they think about things, that'll help them with the way they treat people. It'll help them keep retention, right? It'll help them keep
Yeah.
their people with them, because I don't know what's happening in the world. No idea what's happening, but like everybody's like, I don't want to work 2 weeks. It's too much. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm a director also of culinary operations for this really well known company, and I can't, I'm like, I'm coaching them. We're going through this, but I don't understand what's happening in the world, Kevin. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
that's a lot of disconnect. People just aren't connected to a purpose that inspires them, because,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
like when I'm inspired by a purpose, that means something outside of me that I'm working to serve, and
mm-hmm.
like that's not something I'm going to give up on. That's what I'm going to get up at, 5 in the morning and start, working on myself so I can impact, more
Yeah,
profoundly when I get there.
it's
That's what,
great.
yeah. Well, that's really cool that they have somebody like you inside, though, that's, coaching them and helping them, because like you said, so many people don't take advantage of that. But
Right.
your best asset is people. And it's so phenomenal to see the transformation that this company has made. And like, there was one manager and one lead I started working with them. They're like, first call, both of them said the same thing almost verbatim. Like, I do not like her. I do not want to work with her anymore. Blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. And then all this other stuff. Right. And all the evidence. Right. And,
Yeah.
fast forward, like, I think they've been in the program like a year. Now they're pretty tight again. She got promoted. The lead got promoted. The manager got promoted. And they're like, no, we really like working together. And, da, da, da. And I was like,
That's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
y'all are amazing. That people are humble enough to
Right.
make new decisions. And so it's really
I
special.
love that. Humble enough to make new decisions. And I think that, um, that goes for the CEO too, right? Humble enough to make new decisions, because a lot of companies, or at least some of them that I've spoken to, the CEO does not want to budge from where they're going. But
Yeah.
there is something powerful about a CEO that is humble enough. I love the way you put that, humble enough to make new decisions,
Yeah.
because you have to realize that you don't know it all. Right. And
Yeah.
so, sometimes we get, like you said, like the mindset thing, right? We get stuck in this negative mindset where I love that you said this also, that you get some reaction from your body. So you become addicted to that mindset. And that is so freaking true. And I don't know if you've ever struggled with any of that. Like, that, oh yeah, you did. You said in the beginning you said in the sales that you were struggling a bit with that, that if you make more, you're going to be happy. You had that
Yeah.
mindset stuff, right?
Oh
What
my
are
gosh.
some of the stuff that you like had to really like fight with to overcome?
All right, well, get comfortable. This is going to take a while. Pretty much 15 to 30 years old, I had a big infatuation with that narcissistic ego. And, I was so adamant that I always had to be right. And I had to, literally it took me 3 decades to learn how to say, I don't know and mean it.
Right.
And it's such a hard place when you're stuck there. And like, cause you have
Right.
to know everything. And I definitely did not know everything. And I don't think anyone does. And, it was so frustrating because I had to be the best at everything. If I didn't think I could, like either I just wouldn't do it, right? Or whatever. And
Right. Right.
like I found myself trying to be good at things I didn't even want to do. Like I was trying to become the master of Excel. I'm like, I do not like Excel, right? Like that's okay. It's not for me. And the fact that saying I don't know is actually really powerful. And like you were talking about CEOs who humble enough to make a new decision. The same company I'm talking about, their CEO, like he totally transformed the way he showed up, and now he's got like such a better life, and he's so much happier. And
Mm.
Steve Jobs had such a good quote. Steve Jobs started Apple, as we all know, and Apple's doing all right. And he also, was a big part of the reason Pixar is so successful, and I think they're doing all right too.
All right.
Yeah, they're gonna make it, I think. But he had this really cool quote, and he said, "Hey, we don't hire smart people at Apple to tell them what to do. We hire them so they can tell us what to do."
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's so profound. Like I don't hire people to help me with my website and then tell them how to code. Like, be a short conversation.
Right. Right. I love that though, right? I didn't even hear that. I haven't heard that said before. So I love that. And I believe that. Like the company that I work for, I love them. And they hired me to like create, the whole entire food area, the whole program, the whole thing. And what I love is that, it was almost like still being an entrepreneur within the business. Right. And
Yeah.
so that helps you to be creative. And I love that that's the way Apple thinks. And I think that's the way more people should think, because we don't know it all. Right, Kevin? Like the reason that you have your team is because you can't do it all, but you also don't know it all. And I think there's something powerful about not knowing it all,
Yeah.
So where are you going from here, Kevin? Like, I know that you're coaching. It sounds like you're working with companies and stuff like that. I also know that you have a podcast. So I want you to touch on that a little bit and tell me about your, like, do you do one-on-ones? Do you do programs? Like, tell me about that. Tell me about you and your programming.
Sure. So the podcast is Unlock Your Freedom with Kevin Kepple, and soon to feature Neena Perez. So
Yeah.
make sure you check out that one.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah. So like I do a little bit of one-on-one. I don't do a ton. Pretty tight on that because there's only so many hours in the day,
Right.
and I don't want to. I didn't start a business to be the busiest person that you ever met. I did
Right.
it to help people and be productive and have freedom, and that's why it's Unlock Your Freedom podcast, right?
Right.
But I love one-on-one. It's not that I don't like it. I just want to make sure I serve an extremely high level when I do it. And so I do a couple of different group programs, and then like I have a higher level program called Maximize, which is for different types of executives and business owners that really want to get more of an intimate setting and just really quantum leap down the road and go to whatever their version of amazing is in a really short amount of time. And then working on my first book.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wrote it for the second time, so it should be ready soon. But I think I got it pointed in the right direction now. And
good.
And yeah, I do a little bit of speaking and stuff like that too. So I just really like to help people see what being more looks like without feeling like less. That's the goal.
That's so good. That's so good. And, I love that you said without being the busiest person in the company as well, because I think one of the things I think, I don't know if that's changing, but one of the trends was, constantly showing like reels and stuff on social media about being the business owner, being the busiest, always being the busiest, always being the busiest. But then you start to hate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you, Kevin, went and like really started to like overwhelm yourself with all of these things, you'd hate coaching.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And so then what's the point? Then you're going to go look for something else you have to do that you're going to get always busy in that you're going to hate. Right. Because that's just human nature. If you don't change your mindset and your patterns of behavior, you're just going to bring it to the next thing. It's not going to change. It's like, people who tell me, oh, I'm always in these relationships and all these people. I'm like, yeah, but the biggest denominator in all of those is you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But that's the thing, like we live in a world of paradox. And I think it's important to understand that, without light, there's no dark, right? We don't understand if we don't have it. But, it's like do you want to be busy or do you want to be productive? Those are two
Mhm,
different
mhm,
things. Like
mhm.
I don't need to work 10 hours a day to be successful.
Right,
And, maybe some days I'd actually, maybe throw down 10 or 12, but that's rare.
right,
And,
right.
usually my body revolts or, like my attitude revolts. I know when like my wife's like, "Are you hungry?" I know I might be working too much, like, yes, I am, but that's not what this is about.
Right. That's so funny. That's a great way for her to, like, slide that in there.
Yeah.
Like, "Kevin, you're acting out.
Yeah,
You're acting out,
that's a
Kevin."
nice way of saying, "Calm down, bro. Calm down."
Exactly. Now, you
Yeah.
said you were a dog dad. What kinda dog do you have?
I have a Vizsla named Frank, if you're familiar with that breed.
Oh, do you love him? That's your
Ye
boy?
Yes, that's my little buddy, man. He's
Yeah.
a great guy. He's got great attitude, he's got great taste in humans 'cause, he loves everybody, so,
Right.
yeah,
That's so good.
yeah.
That's so good. Kevin, before we let you go, though, I do need to know how people can reach you because I love your energy. I love what you're doing. I love you. I mean, you just sound like a real pro, and I love that. Right. So, you dropped a lot of little nuggets on here that I'm going to make sure to try to put out there so people can grab onto those. But I want people to work with you. So, if there's like a CEO, a business owner right now who's listening that wants to elevate their program and just take their like leaders to another level, because right now we are in a really sticky situation in this country, with trying to find good help, trying to find help at all. I've been like trying to find employees myself, and it just
Yeah.
takes, it's a lot of work. It was a lot easier a few years back,
Yeah.
now it's like you can be sitting on a position for 6 to 8 months,
Wow.
and nobody's
Wow.
applying, or if
That's
they
so
are, it's
wild.
not. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So I say all that to say that if somebody who's listening is going through that and their work and their departments or whatever, you need to reach out to your CEOs if you're not the CEO. And if you are the CEO, you guys need to be reaching out to Kevin to see how is it that you can maximize, all of the potential that you have there so that you can bring on people that are going to want to stay. Right? You want people that want to stay with you. So, Kevin, drop all of that knowledge for us so that we can have them contact you.
Sure. What a great plug. I need to take you around and do PR for me. You're pretty
No
fantastic
problem. No
at it.
problem.
Well,
We'll talk about it.
yeah, call Neena too because she's really, really good at what she does.
Thanks.
But if you want to connect, LinkedIn, Kevin Kepple, or Instagram, or really any social media, you're gonna find me on Kevin Kepple. I'm
Okay.
most active on LinkedIn or Instagram, but reach out if you got a question. Like, man, maybe and 30-minute strategy session that's free. I could point you in a direction that could impact you pretty quickly in a positive way. Like we're all here to help each other, and if I can help
Yeah.
you, I would absolutely love to because I love to serve. So just let me know what that looks like.
Awesome. And your podcast, por favor?
Sure, unlock your freedom with Kevin Keppel on all platforms that you listen to podcast.
Do you drop them weekly or?
Yeah, weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. We're getting a little backed up, so I think we're going to start throwing them out a little
Yeah.
faster. I didn't realize how busy I'd been.
I know.
So yeah,
That happened to me. I get that
yeah.
100%. I was like, oh, this is going to take about 2 years to release. I better start dropping these fast. That's awesome. Kevin, thank you so much for spending time with me here on Straight Talk. I appreciate you. I
Thanks,
really, really
Neena.
do. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for listening, watching, all that stuff. You already know, like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Make sure that you guys reach out to Kevin. I'm going to link all of his information below. I'm being very serious, guys. I think that it's something that we really have to think about is how we can bring on great coaches like Kevin to come on and really help us develop and align what it is that we're trying to do. Because we got to get some people on board. Like, we need employees out here, man. And the way to do that, honestly, is to really transform your management team, really transform the CEO. And then I'm telling you, that will catapult you into a really great direction. So make sure you reach out to Kevin. I'll put all of his information below. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.